Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we'll be solving EDEXCEL International IGCSE 921 Chemistry Paper 1CR Jan 2022. In this particular video, we'll be solving question number 1 to question number 5, which will be in our part 1 video. And question number 6 to question number 8 will be in our part 2 video. Question number 9 to question number 11 will be in our part 3 video. So guys, let's start with question number 1. This question is about acid, alkalis, and indicator. Which of these is the color of litmus indicator in an acidic solution? We know that a litmus indicator in an acidic solution will give a red color. So it will be red because it is in acidic solution. So red. Next question. Which of these is the pH value of neutral solution? So neutral solution is basically pH 7. So pH 7. We know that acidity scale goes from 0, 7 to 14. Now we know that above 7 this particular range is basic, and below 7 this particular range is acidic, with increasing acidic strength as we go towards 0 and with increasing in basic strength as we go towards 14. However, 7 is our neutral point. So water, pure water at room temperature and pressure, basically indicates neutral point, and pure water at room temperature and atmospheric pressure has a pH of 7. Which of these describes a solution with a pH value of 9? A pH value of 9 indicates alkaline or basic. So if anything is strongly acidic or weakly acidic, it cannot be above 7. It has to be below 7. So strongly alkaline cannot be pH value of 9, because 9 tends to be the weaker. You see, 7, and then we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to 14. So basically, as we go towards this direction, it becomes stronger. So as we go towards this direction, it becomes weaker. So pH 9 is a weak alkaline substance. So weakly alkaline substance. D will be the correct answer. Moving to the next question. Which of these is the chemical formula of an acid? Now, HNO3 represents nitric acid. So we can easily, understand it. However, H2O is water. So this is neutral. NaCl is sodium chloride, which is neutral as well. And sodium hydroxide is basically alkaline. So that is above 7, they're not acidic. Nitric acid is the correct answer. The question says, name the type of reaction that occurs when an acid reacts with an alkali. When an acid reacts with an alkali, this type of reaction is known as a neutralization reaction. This particular answer is pretty straightforward. So acid reacting with an alkaline or basic substance is a neutralization reaction. Name 2 products of the reaction between hydrochloric acid and potassium hydroxide. Now you see, if we were to react hydrochloric acid with potassium hydroxide, then this would produce a salt, and that would be metal from the base and the anion from the acid, so potassium chloride, and we would get water. So they say name of the 2 products. So we're going to say potassium chloride, and we're going to name water. Guys, writing chemical formula will not give this particular mark, so please do not write the chemical formula down. Part 2. State the meaning of the term solute. Very good question. Actually, solute is the substance, or it is the solid that dissolves in a solvent. Guys, it's gonna be a great work if you can memorize these questions, because they're never gonna change. They're always going to come in the same pattern, same way, and it's an easy mark. State the meaning of the term solvent. Whenever you are asked the term solvent, understand that solvent is the liquid in which a solute dissolves. So it has to be a liquid. It's a liquid This is also a pretty straightforward answer. So please try and memorize this particular point, that a solvent is a liquid in which solute dissolves. Explain what is meant by saturated solution. A saturated solution basically means that this particular solution does not have any more ability to dissolve any more of that particular solute at that particular temperature and pressure. Guys, the reason why we add at a particular temperature, it's because particular solvent has the ability to dissolve a certain amount of substance or solute in this case. So what happens is that if we increase the temperature, we will also increase that particular solvent's ability to dissolve more substances. That's why it has to be measured with a particular temperature in mind. Part C. A dark purple liquid is diluted by adding water. The diluted liquid becomes pale purple color. Explain the process that causes this change. Refer to the particles in your answer. So basically what we're doing is that we are basically adding water we to a dark purple liquid. Now once we are adding water to the dark purple liquid, we're increasing the quantity of the solvent. All right, we're increasing the quantity of the water, and basically the dark purple liquid is going to then dissolve, all right, and diffuse in that entire liquid. Liquid becomes a pale purple color. Explain the process that causes this change. So first of all, the process is called diffusion. And as you can see, we have exam tip over here. Refer to particles in your answer. So we're going to say the particles of the dark purple liquid spreads out. Question number 3. This question is about chromatography. Two students carry out separate chromatography experiments to find out RF values for 5 different food dyes A, B, C, D, and E. State 2 things that should be same in both experiments so that the students can compare their results fairly. So obviously, in order to do a chromatogram, we can use many different types of solvents. But in order for a fair comparison between the two students' result, they must use the same solvent. And also results can vary from chromatography paper to chromatography paper, because there are many different types of chromatography paper available. So the same type of chromatography paper should also be used. Part B. After doing the experiments, the student calculate the RF value for each food dye. The table shows their result A, B, C, D, E. State what can be concluded about dye C. Dye C, does not dissolve in the particular solvent because it did not travel any distance from the place where we have placed it. So it does not dissolve. It is not. It is insoluble in a solvent. So guys, watch out for this 0.00 values. That indicates a particular dye, which is that indicates a particular substance which is not soluble in the solvent that we are providing for the chromatogram. The next point, explain which RF value cannot be correct. So we can see a RF value of 1.20, which is an indication of a wrong answer, and it cannot be correct because the distance traveled by the solute is always less than the distance traveled by the solvent. So it cannot be a value greater than 1.20. Guys, if you're wondering why am I using different colors, actually whenever I change a color, that indicates a change in marking point. So basically there are 2 marking points in this particular answer. and I have given you 2 points, so that's why there are two colors that are being used. And if there is multiple points, then I technically use three colors. All right, and then basically each color ends with a one marking point, and then so on and so forth. So if there are like 5 points or 6 points, then I'm gonna be like, for example, red, and then I'm gonna be using green and then blue, 3 marks, and then I'm gonna use red, green, and blue, and then another 3 marks. That's how I indicate. Part C. The diagram shows a chromatogram for a different food dye. Some substances are shown in the diagram. Top of the paper, solvent front, 2 centimeter. All right, 2.3 centimeter from the point where the dye has traveled to, 9.7 centimeter from the starting line, and 1.0 centimeter from the bottom of the paper. Calculate the RF value for the food dye. Give your answer to two significant figures. Okay, so we know RF value is the distance traveled by the solute divided by the solvent. So distance traveled by the solute here is 9.7 centimeter. We will measure this particular line until the center of this particular dot. So that is 9.7 divided by the total distance traveled by the solvent from the starting line. So the solvent front, which is 9.7 plus 2.3. So the answer comes 0.808. Now the question says that we have to answer up to two significant figure. So for that reason, it's going to be 0.81. 0.81 will be the final answer. Question number 4. State the meaning of the term atomic number. So guys, this is a very straightforward question. Atomic number indicates the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. And guys, please make sure to memorize this. An atom of element X contains 14 protons, 14 electrons, and 15 neutrons. Which of these is the mass number of this atom? So mass number is always a combination of proton plus neutron. So here we have 14 protons plus 15 neutrons. So that will add up to 29. So D will be the answer. Explain which group of the periodic table element X belongs to. Now element X has 14 protons. So if we were to do the electronic configuration of 14, that would be 284. So we can easily tell that it belongs to group 4. So it belongs to group 4 because there are 4 electrons in the outer shell. Part C. The table shows the composition of a sample of different elements Y containing 3 isotopes: 32, 95, 33, 0.75, 34, 4.25. Using the information from the table, calculate the relative atomic mass AR of this sample of element Y. Give your answer to one decimal place. So when we are asked to find out AR of a particular element, we must multiply their, the mass number of their isotope with the percentage abundance that they have. So then we, repeat the process with all of them. And then we're going to add up all of their percentages, because we need to be careful about this one, because sometimes it doesn't add up to 100. In this case, it does. So we're just going to divide it by 100. So our answer from this comes up 32.0925. Now, the question says that we must answer to one decimal place. So answering to one decimal place, the answer will be 32.1. Question number 5. This question is about metals and their compounds. State one property of metals. All right. So metals have physical properties and chemical properties. In physical properties, we can say that metals are malleable. All right. In terms of conduction of electricity, we can say metals are good conductor of electricity. So yeah, we can use other things as well, like metals can conduct heat. They're ductile. They form basic oxides. They have high density, they have high melting point, they're sonorous, they're shiny, they're hard and strong. All of these are accepted, or these are answers, those that are allowed. However, state one property of metals, it's often good to write that metals are good conductor of electricity because this is the unique properties of metal. In solid state, they conduct electricity. Another nice properties of metal is that they are malleable. Mercury is the only metal that is liquid at room temperature. Describe the difference in the movement of the particles in liquid mercury and solid metal. So basically in mercury, the particles can move because there are enough space between the particles, there are gaps between the particles and they can slide past each other. However, in a solid metals, the particles are fixed in their position. So they cannot move. They're fixed in their positions. Part C. Magnesium is a metal that burns in air. State one observation made during the combustion of magnesium metal. So basically, magnesium, when it burns, it has a very bright flame which singes the eye. So it's very hard to miss. Part 2. State one chemical property of the product of combustion that can be used to classify magnesium as a metal. So basically, when magnesium burns in oxygen, it produces magnesium oxide, which is highly basic. All right, that means it has the opposite nature to acid. So that's why we can definitely conclude that magnesium is a metal. Only metal forms basic oxides. So by that regard, we can definitely consider that magnesium is a metal. In the absence of air, magnesium reacts with sulfur to form ionic compound magnesium sulfide. Give a reason why the reaction needs to be done in the absence of air. So basically, in the presence of air, magnesium oxide would form and sulfur would react with oxygen individually. Describe the terms of electrons, the formation of ions in magnesium sulfide. All right, so give the charges on the ions. So we have to describe in terms of electron transfer, the formation of ions. So in the case of magnesium sulfide, magnesium is a metal, so the metal loses 2 electrons, and sulfur atom gains 2 electrons to form magnesium. So the charge of the magnesium becomes +2, and the charge on the sulfide becomes -2. Part 3. Explain why magnesium sulfide has a very high melting point. So basically, magnesium sulfide has strong electrostatic force of attraction between its positively charged ion, magnesium ion, and the negatively charged sulfide ion. So a large amount of thermal energy or heat energy is needed to overcome this force of attraction, which is why they have a very high melting point. Last question of the part 1 video. Magnesium sulfide reacts with hydrochloric acid to form magnesium chloride and hydrogen sulfide gas. Give the chemical equation for this reaction. So guys, when doing chemical equation like this, we got to remember that first thing first, we got to follow the statement. They said magnesium sulfide. So we already know what is magnesium sulfide. All right, it reacts with hydrochloric acid. So it reacts with hydrochloric acid. We're going to write HCl. And then that produces magnesium chloride. So MgCl2 will be the magnesium chloride, and hydrogen sulfide, which is H2S. Now, the second part that comes in is that balancing this equation. If you notice carefully, there are two hydrogens on the right hand side, but in the left hand side, there is only one. So we write 2 HCl, which also balances the chlorine on the right hand side. All right. So there is one sulfur on the right hand side, one magnesium on the right hand side, and it is the same in the left hand side. So this particular equation is balanced. Guys, thank you for watching the video. See you in the part 2 video. All right. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right. Bye-bye.